Hey everybody, welcome to the Sabo Ross Experiment. I'm Greg Sabo.
I'm Peter John Ross.
And this is our second podcast. And if you followed us on the first one, we are talking about 3 horror short films that we're going to make. And we just want to get right at it because we're making some progress on Born to Burn.
That's the working title right now.
Yeah, that's the working title. And I wanted to get off my chest right away. So some of the comments that I had, a little bit scary. So it is a horror film, but it's not as bad as it looks. So not into devil worshiping, okay? Let's just get that out there. So in the meantime, I took yesterday, last night, and this morning, and we've got a trailer.
Yes, Greg is going to surprise me. I have not yet seen this. Again, this is something we're doing where, God, I'm so not used to wearing glasses. This is such a, getting in my 50s now, and I just started wearing glasses in the past week.
Oh, man.
I am not used to it at all. But this is a short film that I wrote years ago, and we intended to make it, and just COVID hit, and we just never got around to it. But you've now, and that's the first of the few horror projects we're going to be doing this summer. So, but you've made a trailer.
Yes.
Tell us how you made the trailer, because I have not seen this yet. You've made me wait till this to see it. I've been here for a while.
Yes.
Have not seen this trailer.
Okay, so in my creativity, I was able to produce that I think is a fairly decent trailer that represents what the film is about. And as an independent filmmaker, they talk about how technology is helping. Well, I tell you, it really did help, because I did not roll one frame of video.
Not a frame.
Not a frame. I took one picture of our star that's in the trailer, and from there, I wrote a song, made some music, and then cut the images, built the images for the music, but also the music is based on the script. So the dialogue comes from the script.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. So,
because I mean, you've been experimenting with music quite a bit lately, right?
yes. So I started with music first. Always had a passion for music, but I'm not that much of a singer. But I can hum a bar. So I've got a pseudo artist name. It's called Jake Blaze. So I've got a song out there right now that's doing pretty well. It's called Broken Cards. But if anybody's interested, Jake Blaze is on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, and I'm a YouTube artist as well. So Jake Blaze on YouTube Music. But I put that Jake Blaze to work on this trailer.
Alrighty.
So we're going to see here, we're going to do a little clip, and hopefully
We'll see you guys on the other side of this.
She watched from the window, curtains drawn, breath still. That house down the road, a baby, a chill. She never missed a thing on this street. Every mailbox, every pair of feet. But that house, it was never quite right. Cries in the dark, shadows at night. She called the cops, they just laughed it away. But she swears
Okay, that is my first time seeing that. That is impressive in terms of graphics and the photorealism when not a frame of video is shot.
Not a frame.
All of that's done. Can you say what you use to make it?
Well, I use quite a few different tools. We'll start with ChatGPT. I will use their photo generator.
Okay.
And make various images. Then I'll take the image and I'll use Kling AI.
Okay.
And it's a long process, and not everything always works. But for our star, I snapped a photo of her in the parking lot. That's from her. Every shot of her is from one still. If you had...
I think I can bring that up.
Yeah, one picture. And this is kind of what made me want to really get back into this filmmaking, because of what I can pull off.
There it is.
So there she is.
That
And
one photo generated something like her movements.
That one image, I made all those movements with her. And that's taken off my iPhone.
Whew. All of that is unbelievable that all of that came from that. I mean,
yeah.
That's just staggering where things are at with tools that are off the shelf that anybody can use.
Yeah. I mean, everything works off credits and fees and this, tokens and things like that. But that's where Canva comes in as well, because if you like, I wasn't even working with high res photos. I was in too much of a hurry because I just decided to do this last night. But I would go back, take an image, I would put it in Canva Pro, I'd high res it up, make 16:9 images, then send it over. And then what's really cool now is if you haven't heard of DeepSeek, DeepSeek kind of like threw a wrench into all kinds of things. But you can now do prompts. So deep thinking, which is what DeepSeek is. I mean, ChatGPT can do it as well, but you got to use the reasoning model. And you can take an image, and then you can have DeepSeek, or think about it, or you can give it a little bit of clues what you might want the image to do, and then you might write a paragraph, and then the AI is smart enough now to interpret that language into video movement.
So I thought the imagery is fairly close to what I had in mind when writing it. Like the design of the demon on the inside with the red skin and the horns. I mean, I'm not married to that being the final image. I really want the makeup effects artist to have a little more say than what I originally intended. I mean, that's a huge thing for me these days, is being in general more collaborative when it comes to film. That's not to say I'm not going to have strong opinions as a director, but I absolutely do not want to curtail anybody else's creativity. I mean, I want to be completely open to completely different ideas than what I intended. Because again, to me, it's always, a film is kind of its own creation. It should take a bit of a life of its own and not be any one person's creation. Like, I'm not a big fan of the auteur theory, as it were.
Yeah.
So, but I thought that what you showed was really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, obviously people don't know the script.
Yes.
So,
there's going to be a difference in tone in some places.
So the music helps tell the story. We couldn't hear it out loud here, but that helps tie in the visuals. And, that is the kind of somewhat the direction of what the short's going to be about. So, you have a demon, you have a child, you have a mother.
A firstborn child.
Yeah, that's right, firstborn.
Firstborn child.
And then you have the nosy neighbor.
So that brings us to kind of where we're at with casting, which is we've started to get in some headshots and resumes.
Eric Obert. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Eric, how you doing? So what we're going to talk about with casting and where things are at now is, again, we're not just casting this one short. We're casting 3 to 4 shorts all back to back, some of which are not fully written. So there's going to be a lot of input from the actors, and the type of actors we need and want is going to vary. And we're not just going to stop with these short films, I don't think. I think we're going to keep going. So this isn't just casting for these exact projects. It's future proofing for other things we do. But specific for this short, one of the things we're looking to do is we are going to put on the website tomorrow some sides, the script fragments for people, so that you can do self-records and do your own audition and just send us an unlisted YouTube or Vimeo link, or send us an MP4 and a message or something. Like, you can upload straight from your phone, straight in a messenger or email to us. That'll be a really good way for people to show us what you've got. And for anybody that prefers in-person auditions, just email or message us and let us know. And we'll be more than happy to try to set up kind of a general audition time if people prefer that. So, we're looking for all types, but we're also looking for collaborators, people that want to bring something to the parts that may not be on the page. So, if you've never acted before or you're just starting out, this is a great experience to learn the audition process. If you're somebody with a lot of experience, we might be willing to go full on SAG-AFTRA. If the person is so right for the part, we're willing to do everything we need to do to make this as high-end professional as we can.
Yeah. I mean, it's, it's indie, but, we
want the best film possible.
Yeah. We're still professionals.
Yeah, we may be old, but that's kind of the season. I'm definitely older than you, and I definitely look 10 years older than you. That's where we're at with casting. Is we're still looking at stuff, but we are looking to start moving on this and get shooting in the not too distant future. Yeah,
this one's gonna go pretty quickly. So, like you said, there's going to be some sides put up, something that you can actually read from the script, and please
send us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really blown away. Just today, we got so lucky. Somebody approached and said, "Hey, I have a 1-year-old. I'm willing to donate to the project." So that was fantastic. It's like, well, that's a huge relief.
Yeah.
So there was something else you wanted to talk about first, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wanted to talk briefly for those, that are indie filmmakers. And we are, we're going to be hitting the Film Fest. And we were trying to do this trifecta, really, is what we're trying to do. But Film Freeway. Are you familiar with Film Freeway?
I'm familiar with Film Freeway both as a filmmaker and a film festival director. So I get to see both sides of that site quite extensively.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, what is it?
Film Freeway has become kind of the gateway to all film festivals. There used to be a site called withoutabox.com, and that used to be the gateway, but now this is the main one that everybody uses, both as film festivals and for filmmakers. What it is, it's a site that's kind of like, if you have a film festival and you're looking for submissions, whether they be short films, music videos, feature films, documentaries, some of them even do music videos, commercials, whatever, trailers even. It's a way to find festivals, submit to them. Now, I do want to put a little caveat and a little bit of a tickle out there, a warning for filmmakers, which is if the festival has the word awards in the title, you generally want to steer clear, because they may not even be a real festival. They're basically selling you a cheap award as opposed to actually presenting the film, especially in a more theatrical setting. Like, one of the things I'm just absolutely the most passionate about is that cinematic experience of you sit in a dark room with a bunch of strangers and watch the story unfold. That is, I mean, this takes me back to film history. There's the big debate of the inventor of the motion picture camera is generally considered to be Thomas Edison. But there's a big debate with Europe of whether it was him or the Lumiere brothers. Mm-hmm. Who cares? The Lumiere brothers, really, what they invented as the second half of that was setting up a tent at night with the images flickering on a screen with chairs facing it. Similar to like theater, but this was moving pictures. They invented the cinematic experience. And it's just so potent. It's so powerful that like an audience becomes this bizarre collective watching the story, and they become their own thing. And it's different every time with different people.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like that is precious. It's disappearing off the planet in some ways with all the home theaters getting better. Movie theaters themselves are getting too expensive. And film festivals are one of the only ways that an indie filmmaker can experience that.
Yeah. Well, they can experience it. It could be for good or bad.
Yes.
There's nothing worse than sitting in the audience with your film and like when you turn around, everybody left or
worse. They're all there and silent.
They're totally silent.
And believe me, I've sat through many a screening like that of my own movies. But the thing is, that's the point, is the learning experience. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've changed an edit after sitting in that room and like, man, they are not reacting the way I want them to. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, I wanted them to laugh and they didn't laugh, or I wanted them to be serious and they laughed instead. It's like, you learn from that experience. At least if you're smart, you will learn from the experience of sitting in that room with people. And that film festival is the ultimate way of doing that.
We got Robert Lee. Hey, Robert, how you doing?
Hi, Robert.
He says that recently visited CCAD with his daughter, and CCAD requires that film students set up a Film Freeway account.
Of course. You kind of have to, because if you're going to be at a film festival, the only way you can get to one in most cases is through Film Freeway.
Yeah.
So what you do is you set up an account for yourself, and then you set up little sub-accounts for each of your films.
Okay.
And the cool thing is what you can do is you can tell it, hey, I'm a student, and this is a student film, because you get completely different lower rates for student films and products. And other things will be, it's like, well, this is a documentary. And some festivals say, well, we don't play documentaries. Some will be, we're shorts only. Others will be, we primarily do features and only a few shorts. And like the whole film festival experience, it should be, if what you want to do is you also want to network. You want to meet other filmmakers, talk to them about their films. And part of what I've learned, and one of the things I've learned to change, is I used to be so goddamn selfish. And I wouldn't go to other people's screenings. I wouldn't participate and do those things. And you know what? I missed out on so much. And you build genuine friendships by, if you care about their film, they're more likely to care about yours. And the people that acted like I did don't go very far. And it's kind of one of the reasons why I run a film festival now, is because like I'm trying to help people learn that experience of not just the screenings, but networking and talking and hanging out and having a great time.
Well, I mean, this is all great info, and believe it or not, I had no clue, because I've never submitted a short to a festival, because I only did features. But this leads me to something else, though.
Okay.
I stumbled on this, and it looked really interesting. Now, this is talking about fundraising.
Okay.
So, there are some of the, crowdsource different ways to fund, but I found this one called Seed&Spark.
I've never heard of that one.
Okay. Well, it's a crowdfunding. It says crowdfunding music that matters, crowdfunding books that matter, crowdfunding, videos that matter. And I was scrolling through it. So it's Seed&Spark. You put up just a brief synopsis, and then, you just see if you can get any money. It's really interesting.
It's funny. The whole crowdfunding aspect of making indie films is probably the most dominant way of raising monies for an independent film, especially a short film. Because with a short film, the likelihood that you're going to make a profit is minimal, if not zero. So if you look for traditional investors, the problem is I used to be a Series 6, Series 7 trader selling mutual funds and bonds and whatnot. And so when it comes to things like the business plan, prospectus, and return on investment, ROI,
Yeah.
it just was so ingrained in me for those couple years that I did that. It still got so ingrained in me to care about the investor and care about making sure that they know the level of risk. And to me, short films, I've always viewed them as the scrimmage before the big game. Like, I think feature films have potential to make a profit, where short films, there's no outlet where profit enters the equation, in my opinion.
No.
There's no outlet that pays money for a lot of short films. There's very few outlets where you can make a profit. And even if you did, they're slotted for things to where if somebody like Ben Affleck made a short film, it's more likely that he's going to get picked than you. So to me, that just always seemed like a fool's errand to try to make a profit from short films. But I do think short films are important. There's huge debates. I know several filmmakers that I'm very good friends with, and we have that friendly debate of, they're like, I don't believe in short films. I think they're a waste of time. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that point of view, but I just don't agree with it.
Well, I wouldn't agree with it either, because if you have the desire to make a feature film, well, one, it's expensive, it's time consuming, and there's nothing worse than not knowing what you're doing if you're the director or the DP
or producer.
Yeah, or well, any position really, but that's above the line. Make a short. Why not test yourself there first, where nobody cares, like if you make a mistake?
Here's, again, I love my metaphors for this, and it's, to me, making a short form, I said it's like a scrimmage before the big game. Another way to look at it in that sports type analogy is, how many people are going to go straight to the NBA without practice? It's like, I just don't see that happening. I think you make short films to practice.
Well,
What I try to teach any kind of students, like our boy Jay, who's doing our switching. Thank you, Jay, for helping us out again today. But what I try to instill in the students, like, start with something like, can you tell a 30-second to 1-minute story with no dialogue? Can you just use your phone and shoot something simple that has no dialogue? And is it a story? Is there a beginning, middle, and end? Is there a point to it? Then you get to the 3 or 4 minute thing where you start adding dialogue and editing. Then you get to like the 7 or 8 minute short with more complex. Then you can do like a 20-minute short. And by that point, if you can pull off a 20-minute short that has multiple locations, a larger cast, then I think you're absolutely ready to step up for a feature. But even then, there are additional challenges to a feature. The editorial pacing, the transition from scene to scene. How do you logically get from this point in time to that next point in time that you're not going to get from a short film? You can only do it by making a feature. But again, for those who want to just leap right in and go to features, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. No. But I think that it's harder. I think if you haven't gotten the experience from short films, I mean, it's so strange that with filmmaking, people actually have said out loud, and this is over 25 years of talking with filmmakers of varying states of development, where most people that start out have this feeling that because they've watched a lot of movies, they somehow feel like that qualifies them to make one. And I find that odd. I'm not trying to shit on anyone per se. I'm just saying it's just odd that it's like, you can't expect to be great at something you've never done before.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, it's like I'm always self-taught. So, to rebuild a grandfather clock, well, the only way I'm going to figure it out is to do it, tear it apart and do it. So I guess in one regard, you can tear apart a good film. Yeah. And you can learn just by tearing it apart all those elements that you need to make your film, to tell a complete story. Yeah. And it's hard to tell a complete story.
To me, filmmaking is hard. Yeah. It's not easier, and it hasn't gotten easier to do. Yeah.
Well, I think the hardest thing about it is getting people's attention, something that they like, something that they can relate to, and hence why I want to do horror, because it seems to be the most universal where I can at least have some success, right?
Yes.
Because somebody can identify an opinion when it comes to horror, just like the Born to Burn, the trailer, the demons, the babies, all that, those elements, that's scary stuff, and some of that stuff, some people think it happens in real life, so you can correlate real life to scary scenarios.
Yeah, it's funny. To me, one of my heroes is the Oscar-winning editor Walter Murch, and he wrote a book called In the Blink of an Eye, and he talked about why movies and films affect us psychologically. And the thing I always think about is there's kind of the root of modern horrors actually started in a non-horror film, which was 1973 Westworld with Michael Crichton. He wrote and directed, the novelist wrote and directed a movie with Yul Brynner as that robot cowboy. But the thing is, it was all about there's this thing chasing you and it doesn't stop. And that got redone as Halloween.
Yeah, that works for everything.
And that's the thing, it was Halloween, Freddy Krueger, Terminator.
Well, remember that semi-truck or how about Christine?
Yes, Christine. Stephen King taps into this a lot, which is nightmares. The idea of you're trying to tap into people's subconscious with this idea of what scares them.
Yeah.
What makes them feel afraid in this visceral way that is not a choice. You become afraid. And when they do that, when you see cinematically, guy is coming, and no matter what they do to him, shoot him, stab him, whatever, he keeps coming and doesn't stop. It taps into our subconscious from dreams and those specifically nightmares.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's the psychology of it. And if you try to, it works, and it can be formulaic, but the whole point is to try to masters like Stephen King in terms of writing and people like John Carpenter in terms of directing, even with a minimal budget like Halloween had, it had a William Shatner mask as the bad guy, and yet that is one of the most terrifying movies ever made.
Well, for me, I mean, when we talk about low budget, I mean, Blair Witch. I mean, that scared me. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I mean, I've been out in the woods many times in the dark, and I mean, that scared me.
Yeah, the genius. I don't want to tell a lot of people, but I know one of the directors.
Oh, wow.
I know one of the directors of that movie. He's a super cool guy.
Brilliant. It was just brilliant.
And I think what they tapped into they tapped into such a genius with what they were doing with the first person storytelling, the documentary format, and then playing it for real the way they did.
Oh, man.
It was just amazing what they pulled off. But so
anyway,
as we're wrapping up, the one thing I wanted to talk about, because again, we're not just going to talk about these projects.
No, we're not.
We're going to talk about other stuff. And so one of the things is I you're a cinematographer, and I'm an indie filmmaker director, so I'm on the lower spectrum of buying the camera stuff. And so what happened was one of the best cinema cameras I ever got was the first Blackmagic cinema camera, the one that looks like a toaster. And, but I'm also kind of a zealot I love 4K. I like the bigger resolutions. And so I had two of those cameras, and I, sold them both. And one of them I sold to my old roommate, who just upgraded to the new Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K Pro, which is better than any of the cameras I own. But I was kind of like, you still have that camera? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, how about I trade you some stuff? So I got him, I knew he needed a few things, so I got him a really nice boom pole that actually came from my friend Micah Jenkins from leftovers from his estate. So knowing that Micah's boom pole was going to someone who's going to make films really meant a lot. And I got him a shotgun mic, the shock mount, the XLR, the adapters, a nice porta brace case and everything. And then he traded it back for my beast that came back to home to Papa. And so it's the problem is it's this camera that is a 2.5K, looks like a toaster. And I still it came with he still had the cage on it, but I had the monitor and I had the other stuff and the follow focus and the rails. And I was kind of like, well, I miss this camera. I don't know what I'm going to use it for. I don't know what I can use it for. I considered using it as a glorified webcam, but it seems a little bulky to do that. I have my Osmo Pocket 3 that I use for that.
Let me see that thing, because
Here.
it's been, I don't do much with Blackmagic, and when I remember trying this, and I kind of like, I just didn't know what the heck it was. But it's amazing how far they've come in such a short time now.
Yeah, so here's
this
the thing
thing's
is
heavy.
Oh yeah, it's
Man,
like
is
a
it
brick.
heavy. Oh man,
it is a brick compared to their new ones. There's so many flaws with it, which is like it has an 800 ISO that's useless, but the 400 ISO is the sweet spot, and it's beautiful, very cinematic filmic image out of this camera. But it maxes out at 2.5K, and I'm a big 4K snob now.
Yeah.
I've got a fast 2.8 Tamron lens on it now. I've got the nice monitor, and it uses only SDI, but this monitor converts it to HDMI. So I can still use it, but I don't know what the hell I'd use it for.
Well, you know what it might be great for is in our second film, if we go the route where this documentary horror film.
It might be a documentary camera.
What a great prop, right?
Yes. I mean, basically, I might just turn it into wall art at home. Like, it might just become a piece
Well,
of
I got wall art all over the place. I got
yeah, we've got like the cameras you got
yeah,
here.
I got video camera displays all over the place.
I think don't you have like your original red camera?
Well, I ended up selling that.
You did?
Yeah, because it still got good money. I think I
it's
got
a
like
4K camera.
I got like $3,200 out of my very first red camera.
Yeah, the red one.
Yeah,
which we shot accidental art on.
Yeah, we did shoot accidental art. Yeah,
So that it's a great camera, and the thing is, like I said, I don't know what the hell to do with this thing, but I have it back.
Well, something too. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a raffle.
I don't know. I mean, I fought so hard to get it back, and I don't know why. I love it though.
You could help some young filmmaker. He'll go, dude, I just use my iPhone over that thing. Jeez.
The iPhone would be 4K and have better depth of field.
Yeah,
so,
we'll just.
So I don't know what to do with it. You're right. I kept lifting it. I'm like, God, this is heavy.
No comments. So.
Yeah, well, anybody watching this on repeat, by all means, if you have an idea of what the hell I can do with this other than putting it on a shelf for display or setting it up as the most cumbersome webcam ever. I used to do that, though, with my Pocket 4K, is I would set that up on Zoom, and everybody like, man, your Zoom looks really nice. Like, what is it? What are you using? And I'm like, yeah, I'm using a real cinema camera.
There's a lot of processing power going on back there.
So it's just, I don't know why, but I get that similar look now out of that Osmo Pocket 3.
Yeah.
Just go USB-C in and it becomes a webcam.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have one up here, but let's just set that little Osmos right next to this thing.
And
I think it shoots 2.7K.
4K.
Does it do 4K too?
And you can now, with the Osmo Pocket 3, you can actually do webcam in 4K.
Oh my gosh.
I love that stuff. I mean, that's, again, as this podcast evolves and we do stuff, I mean, this is part of what we're going to talk about is little things like this that just...
I do want to do, I am going to do a little thing on film cameras.
Okay.
I did a TikTok on it. I thought maybe I'd get some interest, but I still believe there are people out there that are interested at least in 16 millimeter for their short films or something. So we're going to do a podcast for a little bit of it. It's going to be, I'm going to bring the SR up here and talk a little bit of film and some of my old books. Take a look up John Fowler, because he wrote the handbook on the 35-3 and the SR, and I worked with that he was a DP and a director, and while they were writing that book, I was working with them, and it's just such great memories. But that book was a Bible for me to understand the workings of a film camera. On there's a lot of mechanics. And I wish there were Bibles like that for some of these video cameras, but they come and go so quick.
They come and go so quick.
Yeah.
They have a limited shelf life.
Yeah. So.
But I think that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we'll have the stuff for casting out tomorrow with the new sides, and we'll start soliciting more of the self-records. And from there, we're hoping to get shooting within the next couple of weeks on the first one.
Yeah, it's going to be in a couple of weeks. And, let me know what you thought of the trailer. Anybody, good or bad? I don't really care. I just want some opinions. All right, we'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.